Welcome back. Today we discuss a common theme in construction. Believe it or not, it's common. I mean, it might not be common to you, but I think once I start telling this story, you'll understand why there are some stigmas attached to the construction industry and why it's been very challenging to break those stigmas. It's an Am I the Asshole construction episode. Welcome to the Sparky Life. I'm your host, Lia Lamela. I am here to create the sparks in your life. And here we discuss the builders of our civilization. All things construction career oriented every Thursday. Before we begin, a quick word from our sponsor, Supply House. Before you make that first connection on your next electrical job, connect with supplyhouse.com. They have got a huge inventory with the top brands in stock and real customer service from real people. That's right, you call in and you speak to a human being. Pretty awesome. Highly recommend you check out supplyhouse.com today. Now let's start our show. All right, so I don't know if you guys read it a lot. I do. Am I the Assholes are hysterical. And I happened to come across this and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like absolutely perfect for Sparky Life. Am I the asshole if I complain about the construction crew peeing all over the house we are having built? All right, that sounds absolutely gross, but let me tell you something. Okay, on these construction sites, we're obviously supposed to have porta potties. And one of the things that women have been kind of challenging and pushing for is porta potties just for ladies. And there's many reasons for this. In one of the Sparky Life episodes, we deep dive into why this is important and why we feel passionately about it. Let's start with the story here. I, 38 female, and my husband, 40 male, are having a house built by a large home builder in our area. Okay, sounds nice. We hired a home inspector to do a pre-drywall inspection. At this point, all the framing is done, the roof is finished, and the subfloors are down. Okay, they're pretty far along. That's great. The same day the inspection happened, but prior to receiving the report, I went to the house to check on the progress and saw some puddles on the floor that I thought were rainwater. A few windows were partly opened and it had rained that day. Oh, I know where this is going. However, I found several puddles in other areas of the house that weren't near windows or faucets, which I thought was strange. My friend said standing water isn't a good thing for the subfloors. So we used several towels with our bare hands to soak up the water. She has it in parentheses. Later that night, we received the inspection report, which included a picture noting that a puddle of urine was found in the kitchen. We had a meeting with the project manager to review the report a couple days later. When he got the pee pic, I thought he'd be like, there is no way that's pee, or an animal must have come in and done that, or maybe even, I'm sorry, this is unacceptable. Yeah, he better be like, this is unacceptable. That totally is unacceptable. Instead, he kind of nonchalantly laughed it off and said something like, I'll have the guys hit that spot with cleaner, and I tell the crew not to pee in the house, but sometimes they do it anyway, so I'll remind them again. What the f-? Okay, I have been on construction sites where guys have done this. We're all human. We have body, functions, right? Okay. And one of the things that is so frustrating is that the porta-johns, if there are porta-johns, aren't properly maintained. And at the end of the day, you don't want to go somewhere that is completely like feces filled and disgusting and smells horrible. So a lot of the guys, what they'll actually do is pee in empty water bottles. And at the end of the day, take the water bottles and discard them. But you do have some fellas that don't give a f- and are just urinating in a corner. We actually had on a construction site a guy defecate in an air handler unit. gross, like absolutely gross. But this is why there is this stigma attached to blue collar because of things like this. They think, oh my God, these guys are dirty. They don't give a shit. And obviously the gentlemen that do this don't give a shit, right? Okay. And females, yeah, some of us can pop a squat, but I have never come across a lady on a construction site that did anything like this. We're basically in the porta potties doing acrobats to not touch anything, looking all kinds of crazy at a fool. And most of the time, if we have an amazing foreman, which we usually do, he'll let us leave site to go to like a gas station or a fast food joint to actually go to the bathroom. Okay. Oh, the project manager is like, I'll remind them again. And she goes on to say, I've been thinking about this and I am increasingly getting annoyed and disgusted because I accidentally took an arm bath in probably what several crew members' urine. Note, I have 2 young kids, so I already deal with other people's pee on a regular and really don't need any more of it in my life. Fair. Very fair. There is a porta john. Okay, I was about to say, there is a porta potty right outside the front door, literally less than 10 feet away. So it's not like they don't have other options. Based on his reaction, the project manager didn't seem to think it was a big deal. See, here we go about standards, right? This is all about standards. If it is accepted, people are going to do it. Now, because it's a residential unit, I am going to assume, maybe incorrectly, but I'm going to assume that the porta potty is not that bad. It's probably pretty well maintained. And you're probably having a crew of 15 max. It's not like a Jedgunda construction site where you've got thousands of guys working on a commercial building. Okay, so she goes on to say, based on his reaction, the project manager didn't seem to think it was a big deal, which means they've probably been peeing in my house all along and doing it in all the homes they're building in this new development. That's accurate. She's probably 100% correct. Our very expensive forever house now kind of feels like a 4,000 square foot litter box. My husband is less concerned and said I should drop it because all home builders / construction crews do it. And he thinks they're not going to stop anyway. Oh, this makes me so mad. Why shouldn't they stop? Why should this be allowed? She says, I don't particularly want to get anyone in trouble, but this seems so incredibly disrespectful and unnecessary. And if they are openly peeing in the house, I wonder what else is going on over there. WIBTA. I don't know what WIBTA means. Matt, help me out with that. Do you know? If I email the home builder's customer service manager and our sales representative and let them know that peeing in the house is an unacceptable behavior. And then there's an edit 1. She says, I'm sorry. She says, I read all the time, am I the asshole? But this is my first time posting. So to clarify per the rules, I am asking, because my husband said this is common, which our home inspection verified, and they aren't going to replace the subfloor anyway, it's pointless to complain to upper management. Also, I know if I do make a stink about it, pun intended, it is possible the project manager could get in trouble and my husband likes him, and that the crew could do worse things in the house in retaliation. That is a possibility, unfortunately. I wondered if I was blowing it out of proportion, but based on your reactions, it is gross and unprofessional as I thought. So clearly people totally agree with her, and I'm on board with this. I totally agree. There's a second edit. I ordered a black light from Amazon arriving today to see exactly how many puddles they left in the house. I hope it doesn't light up. Oh my gosh. Let's take a quick break to hear from our incredible sponsor, Supply House. Finding parts shouldn't feel like catching lightning in a bottle. Get the parts that you need delivered straight to your door with supplyhouse.com. They have a massive inventory of electrical products and nationwide shipping. All the top brands are there, and they handpick their selection with electricians and contractors in mind. Us Sparkies do appreciate. So whether you are doing a residential service change or a commercial update, they've got you covered. They also have friendly customer service from real people, so you can build, repair, and upgrade with confidence. It's online convenience with a brick and mortar personality. What is not to love? And see how much time you can save on your next job at supplyhouse.com. Now let's get back to the show. This behavior is completely unacceptable. And I'll tell you from personal experience, like, my number one thing that I absolutely hate is so many times, especially when I was doing service in New York City, I'd drive into the city, I'd have my morning coffee, and I would have to pee like a fucking racehorse, okay? And I can't just like whip it out and aim in a bottle, right? That's not going to happen. So I would go into like a Dunkin' Donuts, or I would go into a shop and try to like buy something small and ask to use the restroom. And you would be astounded at how many places would deny me, even if I was a paying customer. And then if my customer didn't show up that I was supposed to be like servicing until 8 or 9 o'clock, I was dying, like literally dying. And it got to the point where I would consider, how can I like go around a corner or hide or relieve myself? So under conditions where a porta-john is not accessible or you have no restroom, we're human, right? You got to expel these things. So I can get that, but this is not the situation. They have a porta-john available. So there is absolutely no reason for this. And the guys can aim in a bottle. I have seen guys do this, okay? I haven't actually seen them like literally do it. Don't get gross, okay? But like, I know that they have used bottles and then they, throw it away. And a lot of them have like hand wipes or hand sanitizers that they use. So that's why I'm saying like this stigma, I hate stuff like this because a lot of the guys I know are actually extremely cleanly. It's not like they like getting disgusting and dirty. And a lot of guys that end up moving from construction to like a service position or a project manager position is because they were sick and tired of getting filthy all the time and sweaty and gross. I want to see what some of the comments are on this. Okay. If the crew can't be bothered to go to the bathroom outside using the potty john, I can't imagine they are taking the time to do everything else properly. Oh, that's such a good point. That is such a good point. Production-built homes really are not the best. I wish the U.S. took craftsmanship more seriously. Me too. But if you're constantly degrading the people that are doing the work, this is a perpetuating problem. Like, first of all, you have this project manager that's like blowing it off. Like, this is the norm. Like, he sees it all the time. And so now he has accepted the standard. And so if they're doing things like that, 100% they are not doing a craftsmanship like job. There's no doubt. You don't behave one way in one area of life and then completely different in another area of life. Like in relationships, if you go out on a date or something, you should see how they treat the wait staff and like how they treat people around them and their friends, because even though they might not be treating you poorly, if they treat them poorly, it will be a matter of time before you get that same behavior, right? All of these guys, like, literally probably only have a job right now because everyone has allowed the standard to drop so low. It's just incredible. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that people do not find blue-collar careers prestigious. But break down what this woman is talking about. She's talking about her forever home. She's passionate and in love with this forever home that her family, that her children are going to grow up in and have memories. So the people responsible for building that, I mean, what a huge responsibility. What an incredible thing to be able to give to your community. So the fact that they're building this forever home is an honor, is something to be proud of. Certainly not treating it that way, though. And this person says, not the asshole. Ask him how he would feel if you switched to a builder who used the outdoor toilets. Your home, your money, your say. Better yet, camp out the place, and when you see a guy doing such a thing, simply kick him off site. Well, that's a lot of work for the homeowner. And that's the whole reason, like, why you have general contractors and project managers. They're supposed to take care of the crew. They're supposed to like organize and lead. If your leader is not holding them to a higher standard, they're not going to do it. And this is another remark, not the asshole. I work in the construction industry. Ooh, yes. And holy hell, if I heard of that happening, they would all be fired. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. You fucking rock, dude. Because that is completely unacceptable. AT&T was doing work on my street last year, and one of their guys left a Gatorade bottle full of piss in my yard. See, I told you, dude. I told you. But this idiot left it and put it in the trash. He says, I called their 800 number, and not only did they send out someone to retrieve the bottle, they also gave me a Visa gift card. Smart. But that, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. This is what we're talking about. There are tons of guys like this gentleman, tons of gals in the industry that do not find this acceptable, that this is not allowed. They're holding people accountable. Like, you should totally complain. Like you said, like, this is your home. You're going to have how many people's urine in your home? Like, wood sucks up the urine. It's gross. Drywall sucks up the urine. Like, even if you clean the outside of it, like, you're definitely going to have urine sitting inside of, like, it's just gross. It's gross. It's so gross. I don't understand why the project manager wouldn't be more upset and wouldn't make more of a big deal. You do bring up a good point. She brings up a good point that she just complained, and everyone's attitude is it's not a big deal. And then they mention something to the guys, but they don't really hold them accountable, or there's no punishment. Then 100%, like, some of these guys are massively petty, like, in all the wrong kinds of petty, and they will take it out on the house. So you do have to consider that. But if it were me, if it were my home, I would not allow it. I would completely complain, and I would probably do some bad, sketchy shit, get my night goggles out and catch one of these mofos doing it, embarrass the hell out of them and scare the shit out of them, and ensure that it doesn't happen again, because that's just unacceptable. It's unacceptable behavior. If you say that, this is beneath you, why are you behaving like an animal? You're better than this. We have a porta-john for you. Is there something that's not accessible regarding the porta-john, or is there something that you need that would make the porta-john a better option? Bring it up. And then you're raising that standard. And I 100% believe that is going to affect their work. So if they're not allowed to urinate all over your home like a freaking litter box, which is, I love that you said that because it's genius, it's dead on, then they definitely will put a higher standard in their craftsmanship, because they will be like, okay, I am seen. They are expecting more out of me. When you hold someone to a certain standard and a certain task, like 9 times out of 10, they will step up and meet that level. They will make the choice of putting more into what they're doing. Of course, you're always going to have the, outlier people who are just like, this, I'm not doing this. You don't worry about them. It's not going to affect everyone in a positive way, right? Because we're all different. But those guys, those are few and far between. They are not the majority at all. I can't tell you how many times I've used on my crew this labeling effect. I hope they're not listening to this. Okay, this is what it is, all right? So here's the deal, right? Okay, psychologically, if you label someone in a positive light, like a lot of the guys, one of the running jokes about being an electrician is that we don't use brooms, right? Because we're messy. Well, of course, I am very detail oriented and I am very clean. And when I'm done with my work area, it's pristine. So when I have a crew and I'm trying to encourage the guys to clean up after themselves, I will literally, to the one that is the worst, like the worst culprit, go up to him and say, you know what? You do a good job of trying to clean up after yourself. I see that you are a little bit tidier. That's amazing. That's great. And I love seeing that. That attention to detail. I know that if you're paying attention to the cleanliness of your work area and respecting the environment, that you are paying that close attention to your craftsmanship and your work. And it's incredible how I'll say this to a guy that's a slob, and then all of a sudden he will step up and he will meet that label. He all of a sudden is picking up after himself. His work has improved. It's tidier. And he's almost like, he's super proud of his, job and what he's accomplished and like how nice and neat everything is. Instead of bashing him and like, just totally drilling into him, you're a slob, you don't respect your workspace, what the f- wrong with you? Don't you know how to use a broom? That doesn't work, okay? It doesn't work. Because if it would work, then the guys would all of a sudden start cleaning up after themselves. But if you put a positive label on them, men will step up to the challenge. That's something that's incredible about men, that I adore about men. Literally, they want that challenge. They want to meet that expectation. And they're like, yeah, that's not what they think. They think that, I'm pretty, let me show them tidy. I'll show them what I got. I show them I got this. Like, that is such an incredible characteristic to have. So I hope you have enjoyed this as much as I have. We're going to see if we could do more of these because I just find them extremely entertaining. I hope you do too. And if you do, a thumbs up, like, and share. Until next time.
Sparky Life. The Sparky Life. Don't forget to subscribe.
Create the sparks in your